And we are live. We are here. This is Grim Secrets on Cobbled Streets, a Genesys campaign set in my setting called Copper Gears and Blackened Steel. And it's kind of an urban gothic horror steampunk world. We're just going to get right to it. I'm going to quickly run through our players here and have them introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. First, we have Chris.
Hey everybody, Chris Johnson here. You can find me over on the Dargon Gaming Squad. Kind of inactive lately, and you can also find me on CJ's Kitchen if you're interested in some snacks for while you're watching. And yeah, I'll be playing Hattie Bridges tonight, and I'm looking forward to the session.
Perfect. And next we have Connor.
Hey, I'm Connor of Dice and Ice, and I'm playing as Private Eye Cornelius Merryweather, a detective that is strung up into this mysterious events of Paragon.
You get a point for getting the name right. Next we have Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm the other half of Dice on Ice, and tonight I will be playing Constable Emmett Sterling. So I'm excited to get back into this and see what this club has in store for us. Or, not club, but music hall, I guess.
Thank you. And we are missing a couple other players. They couldn't make it tonight, but they are with us in our hearts, and we'll catch up with them next time. And with that, we will start. Does anybody want to give a quick recap so we all know where we're at? No?
It's been so long, but I know that we did a bunch of, I know that Hattie did a bunch of like looking around for her siblings with very little results, and I know that we kind of ended up with where we keep getting pointed to Elephant Castle, and that's sadly about all I remember, but that's with the help of notes.
So I believe didn't we go in and then we're all kind of separated by different things and different people. I remember that Emmett recognized one of the women singing, though he wasn't sure where he knew her from, and he went to follow her into the back, I believe. Yeah.
That is correct, yes. When you came into the Elephant Castle, she was singing a song. You recognized her. You guys made eye contact. It looked like she might have recognized you as well. After her number, she disappeared towards the backstage, and you proceeded to try to get there yourself. Does anybody else want to put anything forward? All right, no, so the rest, and as I remember, while Emmett was noticing the singer and going backstage, is it Gertie or is it Hattie?
It's Hattie.
Hattie? Okay.
Yeah, Hattie, well, oh, I guess it's, sorry, it's Gertie. Gertie okay. Hattie.
Gertie Hattie. So she's both.
Oh.
She had gone up to the bartender, and that's where we had last left her. She was going to try to talk to Brett, the bartender. And Cornelius, when you walked in, you noticed and recognized, well, not quite recognized, but you noticed this fancy gentleman sitting at a table, and he looked up and it looked like he saw you, recognized you, or whatever it was. And if I remember correctly, you were in the process of turning around to maybe leave. I'm also going to say Harmony at this point was unable to actually enter the establishment with you. They stopped her at the door. They did not like the fact that she was a construct, and basically has put her to the side and said, "You must stay here. You are not welcome indoors. Your kind is not to be seen here." So that is where she is at. You have lost track of Wilhelm. He was with you, but in the preceding excitement of this place, all the bodies, you can no longer see where he has gone. And with that, I think we will start with Cornelius. You were trying to book it back out the door, is that correct?
Yes, I'm fleeing at the sight of my brother because this is bad news.
It's not your brother. This is a man
the person in the company of my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a man you know has been with, like you have seen him with your brother before. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, so you can make this is where I need to print out a character sheet so I can have all the skills. We do not play this enough. A coordination check to see how well you can get
skill
through.
Is that based off of agility?
It is.
All right, so I have then only 2 green dice to work with then. So I don't have any coordination.
Okay.
2 agility to work with.
Yeah, so you would be rolling 2 green dice. And this would be, I'm going to say this is hard because this is pretty crowded.
3 purples, yeah?
Yes.
All right. And that's all I got, I think. So I rolled 1 success.
Okay. So even though it is crowded, you manage to weave your way in and out through the people, dodging arms, drinks, what have you, and you are making your way out the door. And I am going to use a story point. I gave it to you, so now you guys you have all of them. There's 4 there. Just as you think you are safe, 2 burly, for lack of a better word, bouncers step in front of you. And they have their arms crossed and they are blocking the only exit that you can see at this moment. Arms crossed in front of you, and they said, "No, boss wants you to stay and talk."
Cornelius lowers his wide brim hat over his head, and he would utter, "Look, I think you've got the wrong man. I'd best be going. I'm trying to lie or otherwise try to use my cunning to trick these guys into thinking that I'm someone else, if that's even possible."
You can certainly try to deceive them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is
This is cunning, right?
Deception is cunning, yes. And it's going to be against their, I believe deception. Oh, I should have had this written up. I believe deception is against their will or something. Deception is vigilance. Okay.
All right. So that's, I rolled. Did I roll any purple dice?
I'm just wanting to know if I should give you all the dice or if I should roll for them.
Do I use the number of purple dice equal to their will? Is that how it works?
Let's do that. So you're going to roll for them. You will have, in this case, 2 reds and a purple that you're going to have to roll against.
Okay. And I've got 3 greens to work with. All right, let's see how it goes. I got a failure, but an advantage.
Okay, so they are not buying it. They turn to you. I don't care who you think you say you are. Boss wants to see you. You go to him. He'll tell us whether or not you're the one that he wants to talk to. And your advantage is that well, what would you like for your advantage in this case? They're not going to manhandle you as hardly, or
perhaps like they step forward from this, or like it gives me like an opening like beside them, perhaps like if they're standing to block the middle, they kind of step forward or turn to face me a bit more, and then that kind of leaves a tiny little sliver of an opening that I could perhaps squeeze through at a later moment, kind of almost like creating an opening in this like back and forth dialogue, if that's okay for advantage.
Yeah, I can say you could have a boost die, I guess, on the next roll that you're about to do.
Okay.
But they are going to try to start ushering you towards that table.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not going to let that happen. Going to try and like squeeze through any kind of openings or slink through, especially using my like trench coat to just like not let them get a good grab on me.
Okay, so you're going to try to get away.
Yep.
Okay, I want to know if we should make this an actual... We do not play this enough. You could maybe use your skullduggery to kind of distract them, to feint somewhere.
And they like kind of crouch down or bend down to really like duck underneath their arms and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's also against their vigilance because they are going to catch you. So you're going to still have those 2 reds and a purple to roll against.
Okay. And I have a boost, which is a light blue, right?
That is correct. If you fail on this, they will have grabbed you.
Okay. Skullduggery is cunning, right?
Yes.
Okay. 1 advantage.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so they have grabbed you. You are in their grip. You are now going to this table. You have an advantage though, so you could potentially, I don't know if you wanted to do something to them, like pocket something or remove something from them. You could have a chance at that, or you could just
Could the advantage be that they have me by the trench coat and I could like take it off and then like the whole like they grab the jacket but then I can take off the jacket to get away, if that makes any sense? Is that a viable advantage?
It is a little bit much for this because they definitely have you in their grip. But we could say that, yeah, you could have a boost die if you're going to try to get out of their grapple.
Okay. Or like I've even like flexed my arms in a certain way that gives me the advantage when I like undo my arms to kind of like twist the wrists in a certain way to like be able to break out a little bit easier in the future. Yeah. All right, cool. And I guess I'll be kind of pushed in a little bit, losing ground. I kind of look over my shoulder, seeing this figure approaching me further. And listen to that, in which case I won't see that.
Yeah, he's actually
but he's getting a bit more...
The man that you're talking about, he's actually staying at the table. He hasn't got up and left. However, a couple of the people that were sitting with him have got up and they are heading towards these 2 bouncers who have you.
Okay, so I'll let them cart me in further, but keeping this like this hidden trick I have kind of concealed for now, for kind of a better opportunity. To be used in a more timely moment. As I guess, yeah, you
can keep it in your pocket for however long.
Yep.
Like basically like the next die roll that you need to make. Okay, so they sit you down at this table. And they're not harsh. They're not like They don't manhandle you too much. You know, they're forceful for sure, but they set you down. And the man turns and looks at you, and he's like, "Please, join me, Cornelius." And you would remember that this guy's name is Felix. "Do sit," he says, as they push you down into a chair.
"It's a pleasure, Felix," Cornelius will say, when it's obviously not a pleasure, as I've been like shoved into the chair.
Yes, and at this point, he kind of pulls out this little contraption, flicks a switch. There's a little whirring sound. He's also got a cigar, and he this whirring sound, and he brings it towards the cigar, and it neatly cuts off the end, and then proceeds to light it, all kind of in this one action of this
fluid, this fluid motion.
Yeah, and then he puffs on his cigar. "We need to talk. Seems
I'm all ears.
Seems you haven't been respectful of your brother of late. Not returning his missives, disappearing. He is not happy."
Why should he be?
He is your elder brother. You
I don't see
really,
how that changes things.
and this he leans in. You really should show more respect.
You see, respect is a two-way street.
Not from where I'm sitting.
That means you're on the wrong side of the road, then.
I don't think you seem to understand your position here.
I understand full well my position. And as he says that, he like twists his wrist in a certain way to like, help with whatever people are. I imagine that one of the bouncers like has his hand on my shoulder, just like stop me from getting up.
Yes, yeah.
And I can just like I'm aware of like his presence there, and I'm able to like, flex my arm or twist my wrist in some way to give me, or like just kind of show to the camera that I still have the advantage in the to escape. Like I'm well aware of what's going on here.
Right.
So what do you want? Seems I'm not going anywhere.
We want you to stop. Stop with all of this, whatever it is you're doing, this sleuthing, this hanging around and bumping your nose into business that is just not your own.
He puts his finger to his nose, kind of like tapping it. Gotcha. Will do. Sorry to disappoint. And he'll like try to get up to leave, not like quickly, but like kind of showing with body language that this conversation is over.
I don't think you understand the gravity of what I'm saying here.
No, with how hard your little shrimp here is grabbing my shoulder, I certainly do understand the gravity of it all.
Good. So we are being understood?
Yeah, loud and clear.
You will desist? I really wouldn't want to see harm come to you. And you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, and I kind of like sarcastically say back, you and me both. Now I've got places to be, and I really shouldn't be here, so I'll stay out of your way.
Thank you for having this chat with me, and Lewis says hi. You really should
does he?
see him. Yes, you should see him. He's very interesting.
I'll keep note of that in my my planner. I'll try to pen him in when I'm free.
And then at that, the Felix looks at the two bouncers that are above you, kind of gives a little head nod, and you find yourself let go, and you're free to move if you choose.
Yeah, and he's like reading the body language of these bouncers, because the head nod could either mean, conk his skull over or let him go. And so he's like trying to tell in a split second which one it was, and essentially using his vigilance as a kind of a street person. And then he'll get up, he'll nod to the bouncers, and then bid the Felix farewell with just kind of a tip of the hat as he kind of straightens out his trench coat that's been a bit loosened by this whole ordeal, and strides out away from this table.
Okay, and that's where we're going to leave you. We're going to jump at this point to Emmett. Emmett, you were approaching the door to the backstage area. What do you do?
Well, he's going to see first if it's open, if the door is open.
Yeah, it's not locked. Yeah.
So he would kind of give a quick glance behind him before he opens the door into this next room. Just to make sure no one's particularly being too observant of him.
So give me a perception check. This will be average difficulty, so 2 purples.
All right. Ooh, he has a thing. Perception is coming. Okay. So that is a 1 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, so nobody seems to be paying any particular attention to you at this point. You're just some rando guy, it looks like, heading towards the back. Probably not, I mean, it's not a common occurrence, but it probably has happened. You look like a fancier kind of fellow. So
I imagine maybe sometimes when this might be a place where some people go to get like VIP treatment, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And you definitely look like you might have enough money for that kind of thing. You're not one of the dreads of the streets that are sitting out there.
Right. And I think Emmett would know that. So he would try and be as nonchalant as possible as he opens the door.
Perfect. And I'm going to say for the advantage, you also kind of catch a glimpse of this meeting that's happening with Cornelius at this table. So you're aware of that.
Okay.
So you go inside, you open it up, and it's like any backstage at a theater music hall. It is filled with wooden props, costumes, bustle of people going back and forth as they're changing, getting ready. The noise is kind of, well, I'm not going to say it's like super loud, but it's definitely, there's people back here. There are people doing things and getting ready. You can hear bangs and women talking, some yelling a little bit at each other. What do you do?
He's going to start just kind of wandering around, looking for this woman, trying not to keep eye contact with any of the other people for too long.
Yeah, and as you're walking, in fact, as you go past this one dressing room, you catch a glimpse of the woman in question, just as she looks up, and she's like, I've forgotten your last name. I'm sorry. Constable
Sterling.
Sterling.
Mhm.
Constable Sterling, she calls.
Yes, ma'am. That's and he's kind of caught a little bit off guard by the fact that she knew him, and he still does not recognize her. So, he's going to. Do you have a moment?
Yes, yes. Are you here about? And then she looks furtively around to make sure there's like nobody is paying attention, and she whispers, "Kitty."
And as soon as she says that, Emmett's face just goes stone cold cop mode. And is there, this room, is it a room or is it more like just like a bunch of curtains kind of making a room?
Curtains and also like wooden, I'm not just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not quite like folding, like a folding thing, but actually almost floor to ceiling length wooden walls. But they're not like real walls that we would normally have. They're like very thin. You could knock it over probably, but they've structured the back so that these little areas are separate from each other.
Okay. Is there any way to close something? Curtains, a door, something like that?
Yes. Yeah. There would be some sort of curtain that you could close and get a little bit of privacy.
He would immediately do that and rush over and kind of bend down.
Oh, dear. Constable.
Look. What do you know about Kitty?
She went missing about 3 days ago.
Yes. Anything else?
Well, it's not like her to go missing. So for 3 days. I mean, this is her livelihood we're talking about here. And she's gone.
Did you happen to see if she was with anyone before she went missing?
Aye, she was, there was this dandy, I'd never seen him before, actually, now you come to think of it, but he looked very well, like, it was, like she'd done good for herself for once. We were all kind of a little bit jealous, I'd say. But I haven't seen her since, and I'm worried.
Does this man have a name? Did you get anyone, or do you know anyone who would have had his name?
And she looks down at her hands and she's like wringing them. No, we don't ask for names. Not here. Oh, do you think it was him?
Did you talk to anyone? Emmett is just totally avoiding her questions and seems to be kind of interrupting her whenever he thinks of something else that's pertinent. His eyes are just staring into her like just this intense look.
Constable, you're scaring me. Did I talk to anyone? No. I mean,
did he talk to anyone other than Kitty?
I don't know. What's going on? And at this point, I think you should make a some sort of check. You can decide whether you want it to be charm or coercion, or well, that I guess you're not really hurting her, so charm would be the one.
Maybe I would almost argue coercion because he's so intense and like really kind of scary. He's not trying to charm her at all.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, you are starting to scare her, so go for it. In this case, it's going to be 2 purples that you have to go against.
Ooh, I got one threat.
Okay, so that's not so good for you. So, yeah, she starts to clam up and she's like, Constable.
He is going to try and sit her back down into the chair.
I think she will start to scream. That will be the threat.
Okay. Can he try to clamp her mouth shut?
Yes, make a brawl
Okay.
check. A brawl. And this will be again 2 purples. I will give you advantage on this, actually. So take a boost die, because she's not expecting you to manhandle her like this.
Okay, so then that is 1 failure, but 3 advantage.
Okay, so you don't manage to clasp her mouth, but you have 3 advantage. So
I'm wondering, with that advantage, would I be able to get in what I'm about to say to her before anyone comes in?
Yes, let's say that. Yes.
Okay.
So she's breathing and she's
He gets really close to her. Listen to me. Kitty is dead. She was murdered. Was it yesterday? Or no, it's the day before. I think,
body
right?
was found. You guys found the body last night. So it's been almost 24 hours.
It hasn't even been 24 hours yet. Her body isn't even cold. Listen, we are trying to find this bastard before he gets too far away. Anything, and I mean anything you say or know, could help her, could help Kitty. So please, forgive my intensity, but I need to find this bastard.
So her kind of shriek kind of cuts out into more of a gasp. Oh, Kitty's dead?
You cannot tell anyone. I don't want anyone to know. That's why I didn't want to tell you, but you are making such a fuss.
And she starts to cry.
Emmett is going to just let out this frustrated sigh. And he's like gripping, like, I can imagine she's sitting and he's kind of over her and he's gripping either side of her chair. And he just kind of...
And as you do that, another woman comes in. And she's like, Annie, are you okay? Is this man hurting you? And Annie turns and is like, and she's, it's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. It's okay. Go get ready. And the other woman looks concerned and looks towards you. She doesn't seem to recognize you at all, and then she turns to go.
Now listen, I have a couple minutes before she goes and tells those big boys out front that I'm here and that I'm bothering you and I will be escorted out. So please, anything you know. And then he kind of takes a breath, realizing that he's getting a little intense again, and he just kind of takes a breath. Kitty doesn't deserve... She deserves to have her killer found. And the police are not going to find him. Believe me. I and a few others are alone in this. We are trying to find her killer as quickly as we can so no one else is hurt. Please, anything you can remember.
Now I need you to make a charm.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm like switching in between my notes and my character sheet.
That's okay.
Okay. So that's charm. And is it still the same difficulty?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, let me check.
Oh.
Charm is against cool. No, so it'll just be the 1 purple.
Oh. So that is 4 advantage, and he's going to use his new fancy skill called Good Cop, which I may spend 2 advantage from Charm to upgrade ability. Oh, never mind. I thought I could use it, but I can't because no one else is talking to her.
So it's upgrade somebody else's check?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Of a single allies. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, so somebody else was here talking with you.
Yeah, then it would be good.
You could play the good cop, they play, yeah. I got
that
you.
makes sense. Okay.
So you got 4 advantage.
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, it's kind of a social challenge that we've got going here. So you're going to take 2 strain.
Okay.
For this conversation, and you have not yet done enough to her to make her want to talk to you.
So seeing that she's upset, I'm sorry for scaring you. And he's gonna take out a card or some sort of paper, and he's gonna write down his address. If you think of anything, please talk to me. Don't go to the police about this.
At that, she looks at you, kind of shocked a little bit, and you can make another charm roll. 1 purple.
Got a nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, you take a couple more strain, as this conversation is just not going the way you wanted it to. But she looks at you and takes the card.
Okay.
What do you do at this point?
If she's not going to say anything else, or she looks like she's just too upset or frazzled, but she's taken the card, he's going to turn to leave. But then he's going to turn as his hand is on the curtain to leave. Kitty's sister, Gertie, is looking for her too. She's with me. So if you don't want to talk to me, you can also talk with her. And I think at that he would turn to leave.
Yeah, and as you're turning, you notice that she gives kind of a slight little nod before looking back down at the card that you gave her, which she tucks into a fold of her clothing, and it disappears, and you can't see where it went. And then she proceeds to start fixing her makeup for her next performance. As
he's leaving, he's going to kick something. Just that frustrate, not in her room, but like as he's leaving, like in the general prop area.
Okay. Yeah.
Just in kind of, and let out this frustrated grunt.
Okay. And we will leave you there, and we return to Gertie.
Mm-hmm.
You have approached the bartender.
Brett, right?
Brett. Yes, that is the name we gave him.
That was supposed to be a character, sorry.
Oh, sorry. And he's like, yes, that's the name I was given.
I'm told you've worked here a while?
And he's at this point, he's got his back turned to you. So he turns around, and it's kind of an odd motion, actually. It doesn't seem to quite look right as he turns around. It's almost too fluid for a person. But as he turns around, you can see that he's like cleaning a glass. He's like rubbing it, trying to clean it. I mean, the cloth that he's using is probably not the most hygienic, but it's cleaner than, the glass that he's cleaning. And he turns and looks at you. Hey, Missy, aren't you a little young to be in a place like this?
I'm old enough. I was hoping you could give me some information.
Information. That's not usually what people are asking me for.
Oh, arch my eyebrow. And I've been looking for some information about my sister.
Can't say I know who your sister is.
I heard this was the last place she was seen.
And with that, he keeps cutting you off. It's just not very good. He starts flinging around the towel, and he's like, I guess he's flinging around the towel, and he's like, "Can't you see all these women around here? Got to give me something more to go on. I mean, I don't know who your sister is."
So I reach into my shirt and I pull out my locket. And I open the locket and I take it off over my head, and that's her.
He doesn't even look.
Sir, it's I'm sure that you're used to protecting the privacy of the folks that frequent this place, and I respect that. But this is my sister, and I need to figure out what's happened to her. If you know anything, please, sir.
So you can make a charm check.
Okay. So my charm is almost non-existent.
Okay, and this will be against a 2 purple.
Okay. And okay, this is gonna be sad. Where's the there it is. Oh, 1 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, so you get his attention. And he reaches out. Like he drops the rag that he's got going there. He drops that and he reaches out and grabs your necklace. And he kind of holds it up. And then for a second, his attention is drawn somewhere. And before you can do anything, he moves sideways down the bar. So like he just literally goes sideways down the bar. And he's still got your necklace. And he disappears for a bit. You can see him bend down and he's doing something. And then he comes up and comes sideways back. And he gives you back your necklace. And he also pushes, it's like, you're not quite sure what it is, but there's this little metal device, a contraption, and he sets it down on the bar in front of you, and he pushes it towards you. And you see, it's a little swan made out of gears. It's tiny. It's probably about 3/4 of an inch high. And he doesn't say anything. He just pushes it towards you. And then he picks back up his rag and he starts to continue cleaning the glass.
I look at it. And I look back at him. Just kind of hoping he'll is this supposed to mean something to me? And I pick it up and kind of inspect it.
Okay, and at that, he does that swivel, that turn around. So now his back is facing you. And it's at this point, Cornelius, that you have left the table and you're heading on your way out. And you see Gertie at the bar, standing there looking at something in her hand. What do you do?
As I walk away, I'm kind of glancing over my shoulder a bit to see how much Felix is keeping an eye on me. Is he constantly watching me, or has he moved on to other things?
It looks like he's moved on to other things. He believes that his point was made. You understand the situation. And yeah, it's now the ball's in your court, I guess what we'll say. What you do is up to you, and the consequences will come from that.
Cornelius will make a very illogical path through the building to try and shake the attention of Felix so that he basically just loses track of me. Maybe I even we leave the building and come in through another entrance or something. I finally make my way to where Gertie is at the bar.
Okay.
And he'll call over the bartender and ask for a shot of whiskey.
Yeah, so the bartender does that whole swivel thing, and he places that glass down in front of you. And he starts to fill the glass with whiskey. But before he gives it to you, he kind of looks at you. Kind of expectantly, like you should know. And he's basically looking for payment.
Yeah, and he'll toss up the 1 sovereign or whatever it is that
2 rights.
costs.
It'll cost 2
2
rights.
rights. There we go. He puts up these 2 coins, and they clatter against the bar. And I'm hoping that this, between the voice of me asking for a whiskey and the clatter of the coin, will have gotten her attention and to notice that I am literally next to her.
Right.
But I've not called to her yet, nor tried to actively poke her or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, and the bartender would reach out and grab those 2 coins, and they would disappear somewhere below the bar.
And I just kind of nod my head in Emmett's direction so he knows in acknowledgement that I realize he's there. And I just kind of I go ahead and I pocket the swan and I walk away. And in fact, I think I will head outside to wait for the others.
So I noticed that you just leave despite me being there. He will kind of huh, okay, kind of shrug and finish his whiskey before he even leaves. But he'll eventually kind of follow you and catch up with you, but not after he finishes his drink, because he paid 2 rights for this, and that's a big deal for him.
So while you're drinking your whiskey, this is where Emmett, you come out of that back room there. And you notice at that table that Cornelius is no longer sitting there, where you spotted him earlier.
So Emmett is just going to take a quick scan of this place to see if he sees anyone else.
Perception check. Difficulty 2.
Okay. I rolled a success and a threat.
Okay, so you notice that Cornelius is at the bar. However, you also notice that there seems to be one of the big bouncer guys headed towards your direction.
So he's going to go towards Cornelius. Cornelius. Come on, it's time to go. Where's Gertie?
And he'll like vaguely make a gesture with his hand as the whiskey is hit a bit towards the exit. But he won't really like say anything.
Emmett's gonna kind of like just grab him by the shoulder if he's not moving very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Just kind of usher him out.
And as you guys leave this establishment with all its noise and gaudy interior behind, and you step out into the street, you notice that Harmony is no longer there. You're not sure where she's gone, but she's disappeared. But coming down the street is a figure that you do recognize. None other than your partner, Robert.
Hey! That's more quiet. Oh, that's great. Emmett! I've been looking for you.
Emmett's gonna take a quick... Robbie, what are you doing here?
Oh, yeah, I'm here on business. And so I was actually oh, everyone? Okay, cool. Maybe it's, maybe a good time for like my quarterly. I know I've been just kind of starting up and want a good, just a private area where we can, I don't know, chit chat. I'm hungry. Anyone need lunch?
Emmett's gonna just light up a cigarette, take a very, very deep inhale. I thought the commissioner said that you were working for him. Aren't you busy?
Well, I don't know, I just thought I'd do some extracurricular, go above and beyond, make a good impression, just stuff that could help with what you guys are up to. I mean, because you guys are clearly not up to anything.
No. Nothing at all.
Right. Yeah. Just saying. Been doing a lot of reading. Found some really interesting stuff. I was just saying, like, if you guys are into books, like I got a list that I can go on for days. So guys want to find a place where we can talk?
All right, fine, Robbie. Sure, we can't go back there anymore, but oh, by the way, everyone, this is Robert.
Hey again, Gertie. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. I'll lead the way somewhere where they can eat in private.
If Cornelius doesn't introduce himself, then Emmett
Yeah,
would.
he's just like reaching back into his flask that he keeps in one of his inner pockets and starts to down it, but though it's a little bit emptier than it should be, and just kind of just is looking around at the scenery rather than even this new person. You don't even know if he's noticed you or not.
That is Cornelius. Don't worry, that's just how he acts around everyone. But yes, go lead the way.
So, I'm presuming Robert is confidently leading the way because, yes. He would take them to probably whatever local familiar where they can be. He leads them back to his apartment in the end. Just like, here, I'll make sandwiches for everyone. That sounds brilliant. I feel like the fish out of water. Just that's like I know a portion of the story. I'm just assuming.
This poor young fellow, he comes in and he's met with these somber people. There's this young woman who's like almost in tears. We've got these two older gentlemen who are just obviously not happy to see him. They are not helping. Do you let this poor guy take you back to his apartment?
Cool. Sorry, what?
Yeah. Okay. They're letting you take him back to her. So how would you describe this apartment that you have? This so you're in a city. It's kind of like I'm gonna say like an 1880s London-ish, but darker soot everywhere. The factories have pretty much the smog kills everything here. Like it's just everywhere. So the seedier parts of town are blackened from all the smog and smoke that comes from the factories. There's nicer areas, but they're really expensive. So what kind of apartment does Robert have?
Oh, it's of very humble means because I don't think he's quite rolling the dough yet. Eventually he'll climb that ladder and he'll be, top dog. But it's meager and whatnot. Like I'd say it's probably very much a bachelor pad because I'm gonna say he's totally single. And so, it's just kind of like there's a sofa, there's the kitchen with a few cupboards, and
we have a couple of crates for chairs around a table.
There, you pretty much sit on anything you want. Make yourself comfortable. If it breaks, don't worry. I can go find a new one down some alley another day. So for spreads, we have bread. And we have a variety of cheese and some meats, and that's pretty much it. So if you're hungry, I can make you up a sandwich. I make myself up a sandwich. How y'all been, by the way? Feels like it's been a while. Have you guys been keeping busy? You could say that.
Yeah. As busy as one can be. How's the captain?
There's been a murder.
And on that note, Connor, I'm passing a story die thingamabobber to your character. My thingamabobber. So
Right.
I love this technical speak. Robert's very on top of things. If not me. So, just a quick note. But then, Robert's like, yes, about that. Assuming we're talking about the one that I know that Robert should know. So he yeah, like, been doing some reading around because it just seems I don't what's their name? The L division just kind of rubs me a long way. So I was just looking around, and I came across some things that I thought might be helpful, especially like I know we're obviously we're not looking into this, but if you happen to be, I found some things that I thought were interesting. Gertie's eyes are fixed on you, and they are wide, and they're a little. She looks a little emotional. Do tell. All right. And okay, let's see how well I can deliver this in character. So Robert would go into mentioning where it's like, yeah, so I went back and obviously totally left the case alone, but just happened to come across these files about these, like, there's these 3 women of questionable morals. I'm assuming very similar to the one they found. Is new. All right, cool. Yeah, so we can get into that. Although the first 2, and he's like now pulling out, I imagine, a little notebook of sorts of written notes, a little journal. I noticed the first 2 had their throats cut, and they were like dry, like there was no blood, nothing. It was, or at least that's what the notes said, and both were missing the left leg. Do
you know if they were found in the same area?
I'm going to say no, they weren't found or close by.
Yeah, they were definitely within the same vicinity. Probably a little bit further down on Sanctuary Street than where the one last night. I guess like a day ago.
Whoa! So, hang on. Only a day's pass?
Only a day.
It's like been 2 weeks.
No, it's been
long time. That was lots of sarcasm.
So again, the body was found last night. So you have done all of this today.
Give me a promotion. Come on. That's
right?
Great. All right.
And so, yeah, so the bodies were found along the street in a probably, we're going to say like a 10 block, maybe even a 15 block area. And some of them might not have actually been on Sanctuary Street, but a couple streets over either way. But it's definitely the same desperate area of the city.
All right. And then on that note too, knowing what the timeline is, what is the time frame of these previous 2 murders? Because I'm assuming the one yesterday is the 3rd.
The one yesterday would be, in fact, the 4th.
Okay, the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Previous 3 murders time frame?
Probably a good.
When was the first started?
Like a month ago would probably have been the first one, and then like a week and some later was the second one, and then like a week later was maybe the 3rd. Yeah,
I'm thinking that it's like with these other 3 that I found, with some of the similarities, although the 3rd victim's report looks, I don't know, just like someone took some creative license with it. And because that one actually had 2 puncture marks on her neck, and there was a slit throat, but this looked very doctored. And the 3rd victim, along with her left leg missing, also had her right hand missing. Yeah. But these seem like about weekly murders, so I think we might have a pattern.
So the first 2, their necks were cut, and then the last one, there was just the puncture marks?
And if I'm reading this correctly, there were the puncture marks and then what looks like a doctored throat cutting.
Yeah, so the document that you read was doctored.
Okay.
And it says throat slit, but you were able to find underneath it that it originally had said 2 puncture marks found. And then now officially says throat slit.
All right. Yeah, no, it just seems weird because, like, originally what was written was 2 puncture marks, but it was edited out with throat slit. Unless, don't do it.
Can always trust the law to sweep the details under the rug, Cornelius says in a drunken stupor.
These were all handled by that same L division. Oh yeah, they're totally on top of it. Yeah, they're on top of it. I mean, that's why I did some other reading, not pursuing this current murder. Wouldn't want to cross them. You know, they really rub me the wrong way. Takes a bite out of a sandwich. Anyone want a sandwich?
Sure.
Okay. You have a sandwich. The bread might be a little...
And he'd eat it, and then he'd make crumbs everywhere. He gets a little bit of sauce on his left cheek, and just being a terrible slob, as Cornelius is not the most...
Right, it'll blend with all the dust. And the unswept floors. Gertie uncharacteristically declines the food and finds a spot over against the wall and sits on the floor, leaning against the wall. And she kind of looks around. Did anybody feels like learn anything?
I think Emmett would also wave away the food. He's been writing down what Robert has been saying. I didn't want to get you into this, Robert, but I'm glad you're doing research. Good job.
Thank you. All a good day's work.
Gertie, I'm sorry. I think I might have scared off a witness.
Well, I found everybody to be pretty... Well, I tried to talk to the bartender, and he was very closed-mouthed, but he gave me this, and I pull the swan out of my pocket and hold it out in my hand. He wouldn't explain what this was. And so I start inspecting it.
While you're doing that, I think Emmett would tell you all about the man that the singer had said was with Kitty, the last person who was seen with Kitty before she disappeared. But nothing more than he was rich looking.
Which, who knows what rich means. He didn't have gunk on his face. He was clean. Right. Freshly washed. Whew.
What's Cornelius doing?
Sandwich.
He's thoroughly enjoying the sandwich. But his mind is still a well-oiled machine as he's tying together all these clues he's seen and heard, and especially the new murder victims that have been brought up have really cemented his ideas, as well as like the whole introduction of the corruption and sweeping under the rug of what's going on. He would blurt out, "We need to see the bodies for ourselves."
Did you get the names?
Yes, the names would have been on the documents. Caroline. I gotta write all these down now. Pardon me?
Caroline, Jenny, and Callista.
I like that. Caroline, Jenny, and Callista. There you go.
Caroline, Jenny. Oh, poor Callista. She was only 18. Callista. Yeah, there's not much older. Would any of them, maybe Robert would have noticed, like, or potential family names, or like because of they were women of questionable morals, were they pretty much like nobodies? Because I could see him maybe if there's a way of researching like family history or something real quick, like let's put this name in the system, or look them up, just to see if they had any family.
There's no like system for much.
1960s.
Yeah. You can go to the record hall. I mean, like there's loose census, but not everybody is always marked down. So you might be able to find certain people. Because they do take a census every few years, like people go knock door to door. So there may be information on these women. Their names are all pretty common for this kind of area. But yes, that's definitely something that could happen. You have not actually had a chance to do that as of yet, to follow up on that lead. But
if that end session, if it seems appropriate to still do that, I'm going to make that kind of his. Okay, I went to check the Hall of Records. Anyways. Oh, there you go. Hey.
So, Gertie, you were looking at the device.
Right.
You can make a mechanics check.
Okay. That's going to be interesting, too. This is all stuff I don't have. Okay, reset. And what's the difficulty on this one?
It'd be a difficulty 2.
So I get 2 of these. Whoa. And 2 of those. And I don't have anything to modify that. Oh. All dice have canceled. Oh, it's a wash. No good, no negative.
So you stare at this thing, but it's just, there's nothing about it that sticks out to you. I mean, it's cute, it's well done, but you don't glean any information from it.
So, darn it. So I get up and I take it over to Cornelius. What do you make of this? And I offer it to you. Do you take it? He eats it.
Yeah, he'll clumsily grab it and kind of like inspect it with a not a very ginger grip. He kind of like, plays with cogs and pins and other things on it. They probably shouldn't be if he's an actual registered tinkerer, which he's not. But he'll just kind of look at it and see how it works.
Okay, so you can also make me a mechanics check.
All right, mechanics is intelligence, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. What kind of difficulty is it? 3?
2.
Okay. 1 success and 3 advantage.
Okay, and what were you looking for when you were looking at this thing?
Its function.
Okay. As far as you can tell, it is purely ornamental. that it really has no function in itself. But what you notice is that it is very well crafted, that whoever made it knows what they're doing and is very skilled with this kind of automaton, mechanic device kind of thing. This one in particular does not seem to do anything. It's more like an ornament that maybe would be put on something, but it is very well crafted.
So yeah, so it has like no moving pieces to it.
No, it does not.
And so he just like hands it back to Gertie and says, "It's just a decoration."
So when you're handing it back, that is when those advantage come in, and you notice that there is something engraved on it that you did not see before.
And then, so I hand it to you, Gertie, and like as you go to grab it, he like snatches it back and like flips it over onto the engravings and looks at it, just completely being very, very rude about this.
To get to where I can like see what you're looking, like to try to see what you think you're seeing, and what is it?
He rubs his goatee as he's looking at this thing.
Here comes some more philosophy.
So Cornelius, you see engraved tiny little letters on one of the gears that's kind of in the middle of this little swan. So it's, it's not really noticeable, but you manage to catch it. But you see the initials RM.
Hey, Robert, what's your last name?
Kopsa. Robert Kopsa.
Okay.
Robert Kopsa. The cop. Dirty snickers for a minute. At the irony of that.
And so then Cornelius will just hand back the trinket to Gertie properly this time and completely, not snatching it back. And he'll like kind of shake his head. It says RM on the bottom.
Was that what were the initials on that handkerchief?
RM.
Oh!
Nice.
Sorry, you guys are doing your thing. Robert is now remembering something, but finish the initials.
Would Emmett recognize any of those names by any chance? I mean, they're kind of, Caroline and Jenny are pretty normal names, but Calista's is kind of unique. So if he came across them, he might, I don't know.
Make a, what do we want to say? A history check or no? What can we do here?
Knowledge?
Yeah, let's just do straight up knowledge check or streetwise. If you have streetwise, that would be.
I do have a streetwise.
Yeah, streetwise check. Make a streetwise check.
Can I assist on that somehow?
Yes, you can.
What is an assist?
That is a good question because we have never had to do that.
Boost die. Usually.
Yes, so she can use her move to assist you, which would give you a blue die.
Cool. And what is the difficulty?
2.
Okay. I think. Right. I got 2 advantage.
Okay, so the names, you do not recognize the name of Callista, and the other 2 names are just too common to know who they are. advantage, however.
Would
oh,
I? Sorry.
I was just going to say before I forget, you need to roll for recovering of stress. So you can do that because I didn't. Before I forget,
Would how?
Vigilance, right?
it is. Wow, it's been so long since we played. I have forgotten all the rules.
I think it's vigilance.
It's like resilience, isn't it?
Oh, resilience. You're right.
Strain.
Oh, no. Okay.
Resilience.
Actually, you know what? I don't think I have any
No,
strength.
a discipline or cool check. That's what you need to make. There's no difficulty. It's just roll your either discipline or cool, and for however many successes you get, you recover that strain.
Ooh, I got 1 success. And advantage doesn't mean anything?
Nothing. No.
I got 1.
So you have 2 advantage from
What-
this knowledge. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I use a story point to say that it could either be Emmett or Gertie would think of someone who might know who they are?
Absolutely. It is at this moment that you remember your sister. She would she would probably know who these women are.
Yep. So you hear Emmett just kind of audibly sigh. I can work to see if we can get to see those bodies, but I might know someone who might know them. But trust me, if there was any other way, I would not even ask her at all, ever. But I feel like since our strikeout at the White Elephant, I don't see much of a choice. Unless, Gertie, you have anyone. And he's like looking at you, Gertie, like, please know someone else. Or please have another idea so that he doesn't have to talk to his sister.
We already asked Bert, didn't we? He didn't have.
Well, you haven't asked Bert about these women, but
But I think we asked him about RM, didn't we?
yes, you did. Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't help you with that one. I think it's at this point that Robert.
Yep, I was just thinking he's finished his sandwich, realized the swan trinket, and be like, oh! Rifle through his pack, whatever, pouch, majigger. I found this. And it's probably doesn't look like much because it's supposed to be battered and whatnot, but he'll twist the die and music box will start playing a song.
Yeah, so Robert sets down on the table in front of you a very battered, banged up music box. But you guys recognize it as the box that was at the scene last night that you didn't have a chance to look at.
I think at that, Emmett would just immediately stand up and just, Robert, you glorious boy, and just look at this music box. Just get like, yeah, he's very excited.
Who get a hold of that? A little bit of luck, honestly. Or at least that's how I see Robert in my head right now. Just like, just haven't found it, pocketed it before they destroyed the rest of the crime scene. Sorry, I was really hungry. I don't know why that slipped my mind, but there you go.
So Emmett's going to immediately start looking at it, and if Gertie's going to want to get in there too, and Cornelius, he's going to try and make room so that we can all together just over this music box.
Have like this tiny,
Right,
little
this
crumpled-
tiny little.
like we're all like 3 people just ominously.
Yeah, Gertie's absolutely like right there. All up in your personal space.
And Corny would be just like observing nonchalantly.
You can't have any.
Yeah, so you're looking at this thing, and this thing is broken. But in your prodding and your like fussing with it, it starts to make a little bit of a sound, and you get a little bit of a tune. It's eerily pretty. And for those of you in the room, I need you guys to make like I want a history or something. What is that in here? We'll just go straight knowledge.
Lore?
Pardon
I
me?
have lore.
Lore?
Yeah, lore's not quite right.
Streetwise.
Yeah, you can do streetwise, or you could do straight knowledge.
Yes.
Like intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tricky one for me.
What's the challenge? What did you say?
This will be a level 3. So 3 purple.
Oh boy.
3. So Mary had to step out of the room, so if you could repeat that for her.
Oh, okay. Everybody here gets to make either a streetwise check or a straight knowledge check to recognize the song.
So I got 1 success and 4 advantage, and for some reason my name's not showing on this when we roll. So
I got 2 success and a threat.
So it's going to be 2 yellows on yours.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Cool.
And
Oh,
Emmett?
right, because it's okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
2 yellows.
So, and then it was 2 purple. And do you want to hit it? Or? I don't know if you're superstitious. So. Okay, and Mary got 1 advantage.
And Emmett?
No. 2 failure and 2 advantage.
Okay, so the 2 constables have no idea. They've never heard this song before. They know nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Gertie, you recognize this a little bit as you've known Harmony for a while. And every once in a while, you'll catch her humming something under her breath in that mechanical voice that she's got. And this kind of reminds you of it a little bit. Cornelius, you know this song. You have heard this song before. You heard it back in the days when things were so much better for yourself, when you traveled in much different circles with much different people.
That was going to be spicy. I just saw salmon. I was like,
The threat is going to be that this is going to cause you a lot of emotional stress. Remembering this song, because it's going to bring back some really bad memories. So you are going to take 2 stress, 2 strain. But you recognize the song from the times you were able to actually, when you actually went out to, the nice theaters and the nice music halls where they had women who could, and men who really could sing. And this song, though you can't quite place the name of it, you get a feeling that you have been somewhere where you have actually heard this song performed live. And you can make me a follow-up check, whatever check that you did to get this. You can do a follow-up check Also at hard, but you can have a boost die.
One success, one advantage.
Okay. So while you are listening to this little bit of a song that happens, it occurs to you, the name just kind of pops up in your head, the signet. Because at the same moment, you are looking at that little swan that's in Gertie's hands, and the two just kind of click. That's where you heard this music before.
And Cornelius, the emotional trauma, because that place, him and his brother were young. We were very young, going with our parents to this place. And we were all dressed up so formally, but we'd always play, and we'd always rough house or whatever in the stands. And after the show was done, our father would beat us with his belt every single time, even if we behaved perfectly during these shows. He just remembered that trauma and how his brother never stood up for him because it was only him that got beat, not his older brother. And so he's kind of brought back to that weird mental state of looking at, your co-conspirator and they don't help you, and that kind of neglect, as well as just being beat up by your dad, are just kind of welling up. And he's visibly crying here, though he catches himself soon after a few tears form, wipes them on his ratty sleeve, and stands up, though he's very clumsy, in a way that a person is much more clumsy if they're sitting and having drunk a bit. When they stand back up again, they kind of forget how much they lose their ability to balance, and he probably walks into a wall for a bit, and he's just trying to leave this apartment to get some fresh air. But he will say in a drunken voice, the signet. It's the signet. He kind of mumble over and over again, as he kind of just goes for the door to leave to get some fresh air. Though in a very, very two left feet kind of waltz in his drunken state.
What do the rest of you do when Cornelius has this outburst?
There's a balcony. Never mind. I guess he'll go for a walk.
I watch him go out the door, but then I when he says the signet, I whip around and look at everybody else to see if there's any recognition at that mention on anyone's faces.
Would Emmett know anything?
What should we roll to know?
You guys could give me a check. This would be against Streetwise, I believe.
Streetwise.
In this case, it will now be a level 2 difficulty.
Nice, so Streetwise.
I had a bunch of advantages on that. Can she have a boost from that?
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Sweet.
Go for it.
Those are good.
These scissors.
I got 2 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, so the name does mean something to you, but not probably what the others would think it would mean to you. You know this because a couple years back, maybe a year and a bit, there was a tragedy in one of the nicer areas of town, and you know this because all of the divisions were called to help, as a giant fire raged through this beautiful section of town and completely destroyed the signet. Many people died, and you got what, 2 successes and an advantage? And you found that you know that there was never any resolution to how it started or what happened.
So the signet is an area of town? Sorry, is that?
Oh, sorry. No, the signet was a beautiful music hall. Yeah, it was a gorgeous, one of the finest in the area, and yeah, it had a disastrous fire one evening and burnt.
Christine.
So I think, Gertie, when you look, if anyone recognizes, you see Emmett looking after Cornelius just with a furrowed brow.
Emmett? Does that mean something to you?
It's a music hall. One of the nicest in town.
Where is it? Is it far? Can we go there?
Is it in the north end? Because all fancy places are in the north end.
It is absolutely in the north end. In fact, it's the north.
Clear on the other
We're
side.
going to say northeast end, so that it's away from the docks. That would have been like the docks are kind of in the southwest. So this is like the absolute furthest away from the seediest part of town. Yeah.
And what time is it about?
Clearly lunchtime. I don't know.
No, it's gotta be night.
Is you kind of joined up at the middle, like
Lunchtime somewhere.
late night. So it's after midnight. It's probably around 1 or 2.
In the afternoon, sorry? Or
No, in the early morning. Yeah, after midnight.
We're not owls.
I don't think that the signet will be open anymore.
Maybe that's what this is about. I'm gonna hold up that little.
Yeah, he seemed to look at both of them, didn't he?
He did. Well,
Shall we go out?
I
and-
think we know the next place we need to go, but sounds like tomorrow evening.
I'll talk to my source about those women. See if they know anything.
Would you like me to come with you? Robert will eagerly ask.
Not tonight, Robbie. You did good. I'll put in a good word to the captain for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, just I don't like L division.
And I think Emmett would turn to leave, I guess. Just so tomorrow evening.
At the newspaper.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll see you then. And Gertie will surreptitiously go ahead and make herself a sandwich at that point and take it with her.
Awesome. Should have really said midnight snack, but whatever. And it's lunchtime somewhere.
I mean, Robert worked hard. It might be lunch for him.
Exactly. Who's ready to go home and have lunch? You do realize it's midnight.
Maybe he just always calls it lunch.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah, you work shift work. You know, a meal could be, who knows. On the way back to my place, I will be looking for coal and, you know, things to keep my place warm.
Okay, for that, make a streetwise check to see what you find as you are going back.
That is fair. Let's see. That is cutting. So this is
Average difficulty, so 2.
average. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, and I think I got myself a handy dandy little talent today. Is that for streetwise? No. Skullduggery. Okay. Oh, that's okay. I have 3 successes and a threat. Oh, I know what would be a good threat.
Okay, let's hear it.
Maybe as I'm so I think her MO is she doesn't actually steal out of people's coal bins, but she steals the stuff that gets spilled as the workers, and she knows where all the sloppy workers are in her general vicinity, right? And so, but maybe I think as she as she's you know, grabbing some of this coal, maybe she bumps, I think she bumps somebody's coal, whatever they call the bin thing,
Majigger.
and it alerts a angry homeowner, maybe, or, you know, calls somebody's attention to the fact that she's there.
Yeah, so they see you, you make the noise and they see you and they throw
Oh, that's
they throw something at you, like maybe a really heavy pot, let's say. And I need you to make me a mobility check. This is a completely different game. So I was just playing Mecha Hack, so like I just want to do everything in that. But yeah, let's do a coordination check.
So that one's gonna be this and this against
2.
2. Let's see. What do I?
And give it a boost because it's dark out.
Ooh, nice. A boost?
Praise the DM.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, because I'd be able to. That makes sense. Oh, another wash.
Okay, so you are going to get hit by this pot.
But it's not going to injure me.
Or kill you.
It's not going to do much damage. What is it?
Okay.
Improvised. That's somewhere on here. Improvised weapon. Size small, so it would be 1 damage.
Okay. Ow.
And if you have anything that like your soak, it would come off of that. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't take any action.
So yeah, you just get bruised and scared.
Old Biddy.
But you managed to get away with some coal, and you have enough
Nice.
for probably tonight and another night worth of warmth.
Nice.
Emmett is going to see if Cornelius is outside when he goes out. Or has Cornelius left?
Cornelius has left, but he'll be pacing. But like not pacing like a coherent person would, like the pacing you do when you're leaning your shoulder against a wall and using it as like the thing keeping you up, because he's like literally walking at an angle, his shoulders scraping against the stone walls. Yeah, he's kind of just like mumbling and just kind of walking down into the darkness and literally in the middle of the night.
So Emmett is going to light a cigarette, and as he does so, he's going to follow you for a bit. All right, buddy. Let's get you home. And he's gonna kind of shoulder you, like put his
Yeah.
arm around you, kind of support you, and start heading in the direction of where you are staying.
And he'll let you, and you can tell that he's like not keeping us cool, in a sense of like him being a bit shaken, a bit uneased by this revelation of the music jingle, and he will give you like emotional thank yous as you take him. The more thank yous than is socially allowed because of his drunkenness. And I think finally when you get down Opium Street where his little shack is, he'll like collapse into his little like beanbag bed and just zonk out for the night.
Emmett would leave sure to... I would even think that he knows where Cornelius keeps an extra key.
Yeah.
And he's going to take it with the intention of coming back in the morning just to make sure he's all right. And then Emmett would head home.
Well,
And is there anything that Robert would do before turning in for the night?
maybe making a note. No two families. the names. Oh my gosh. Anyways. Yeah, I don't think anything else comes to mind as something that I would think he do. Other than, yeah, get a good night's rest so that way he can get up and be on top of his game.
Okay. And Gertie, is there anything that you do before you head to sleep now that you've got a nice warm...
So I think she just, she eats her sandwich. And I think she just spends some time kind of contemplating everything. And then, of course, she's Little Miss Clean. So she's like, gotta, wash up her tattered clothes and sit and mend anything that's, looking like it's in need of that before she goes to bed so that it has time to dry and be ready to be worn again tomorrow.
And what do you do with the little swan?
I actually go to sleep with it clutched in my hand.
Okay.
Or maybe I tuck it under my pillow, but...
And as we see these people, we see Robert tidying up the kitchen before he writes a few notes in his book, and then he turns in. We see Emmett. Well, what does Emmett do as his nightly ritual?
Emmett is going... Emmett is going to go into the room where his children used to sleep. And there are 2 stuffed rabbits on each of the beds. And he would kiss each of the rabbits on the forehead and kind of tuck them in to bed before going into an empty bedroom and falling asleep, passing out.
And as the camera pans away from Emmett doing this, it lingers for a short time on this figure in this dark warehouse in a tiny little corner, swaddled under tattered but clean blanket, clutching a tiny little swan in her hand. And I imagine as she's lying there, a couple of tears run down her face. And then the camera pans to a different place, to another hovel somewhere else, to a man who's kind of passed out on his bed. But you can see he's not having pleasant dreams as he is groaning and tossing and turning from the revelations of the day. And at that point, the camera then zooms out across this dirty, grimy city and fades to black. And that's where we're going to end our session tonight, so that the other two people don't get too far behind and we can bring them on back in. So we will be back in about 2 weeks. So you can catch us then. At this point, I will turn it back over to the players and they can have a little outro and say what they'd like to do. And we'll go in reverse order. So Megan, you can go first.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan, and that was great. The plot thickens, and I love how you are just absolutely combining everyone's backstory and everyone's pasts are coming to the surface to haunt them, and that is one of my favorite things of a story, and you are doing that, and it's making me very nail-bitey, so can't wait for next session.
Well, I'm glad you guys gave me such good stuff to work with, so it's my pleasure to do so. Next, we have Connor.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that sentiment too, where just like all these just things are popping up from our past, and it's making me question, oh no, why did I give her so much good ammunition against me? Yeah, it's really cool to just see all these different clues leading different paths, and we have to like sort out how it all comes together in the end. Looking forward to the next game.
So am I. And Chris and Mary.
You want to go first, or?
Thanks for letting me play. I'm Mary. I'm visiting Chris and Karen. Everyone let me play Robert. Yay! And so just jumping in. Maybe I'll be back. Maybe I won't. Who knows?
You'll have to tune in to find out. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I have to just echo what everybody else has said. It's really fun to watch the plot unraveling, and yeah, can't wait to see what's gonna happen next.
Y'all gonna die.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. This has been a blast tonight, and thank you, Mary, for jumping in and playing Robert and breathing some life into him and just being all around awesome. So thank you guys for a good evening. And with that, we will say goodnight, everyone.